Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on Cubo virtual robots. With me, Sarah's the manager host, and we've got Neil Taylor here as your presenter, whom I'll shortly introduce. I'm the CAS Community Outreach Manager for the North East and Cumbria and North Yorkshire. I oversee the communities and support the community leaders in that area. So this webinar is part of the CAS Virtual Showcase, which is a 2-week window of webinars designed to support the CAS community. During the session, please use the question window on the right-hand side of your screen to ask questions. All attendees are in listen-only mode. Just add to that, so if you do want to, it says chat at the bottom. If you want to send anything over to me, if you want to ask me anything that's not a question for Neil, use chat. But if it's going to be a question for Neil, put it into questions, and I'll either ask him, interrupt him a little bit, or I'll ask him the question at the end. So just to be aware of the difference between questions and chat there. If you're using social media today, we'd love you to. Could you use the hashtag for the event? It's hashtag CAS Virtual 20, but I think you probably saw that as you come in. Okay, so now I'll hand over to Neil. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you very much. As Sarah said, my name is Neil Taylor. Just quickly let you know who I am, what my role usually is. I'm the senior trainer at a company called CreativeHUT. I've been working in education for nearly 10 years now, and we work with all sorts of different education technology from early years up to further and higher education. And we help schools, we'll give them advice on what might be the best resources for them to use in the classroom to help them deliver computing curriculum, but all of the areas of the STEM or STEAM curriculum across the board. So we're, of course, usually out and about working with teachers and pupils with hands-on technology, but we're also working with lots of great digital virtual tools, which I'm going to be showing you today. So we are partnered, with all sorts of different education technology providers like Lego Education, Sphero, MakeBlock, and Cubo Robotics, and lots more. But today we're going to focus on the Cubo robotics. So in this session, I'm actually going to be showing you the Cubo Play tool live, which is basically it's a completely free of charge tool at the moment, and it is all based around virtual robots. To clarify what it's intended for, it's perfect for supporting the delivery of the computing curriculum at early years, Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. And it's great for enabling them to understand the concepts of coding with the tool, but there's also a lot of cross-curricular value into language and literacy and maths, so we'll be referring to the opportunities on that as well. But before I showcase the virtual tool that you've got to work with, I will be coming to that moment. I think it's always important to just show exactly where this comes from and what it's based on, because it is based on actual physical resource. So I'm going to quickly show you that and then come back to the free virtual tool, which we'll all be able to use as well. So I'm just going to switch my view, and hopefully you can see my video feed okay. So the robot you'll be usually working with is this little one here. So this is Cubo, our robot, and it is usually a completely screenless tool. You don't actually have to usually work with a tablet or a laptop or any sort of computing device to actually control the robot. It's all done by using these physical tag tiles, which look like this, to create the code to instruct the robot on what to do. And these all fit together like a jigsaw, which the Cubo, the robots, can then read to act out or memorize and then act out what we want Cubo to do. And you're usually working with activity maps like this that you can see on the screen as well. They can be based around all sorts of different themes. This particular one is based on a school grounds, and they have the pupils have problem-solving challenges where they've got to get Cubo from point A to point B to carry out different activities. And so yeah, to create the code, you're working with these tag tiles. Now the ones I've got on the screen here, these are some of the most basic ones where you're basically creating a route for instructing Cubo where to go from point A to point B. So for example, this one here will be just getting Cubo to move forward. This one here will be getting Cubo to move to the, or sorry, turn to the right and then move forward. And this one here would be getting Cubo to turn to the left and then move forward. You can go on to lots more complexity than this, but just to quickly demonstrate this, if I, for example, want to get Cubo from here safely across the road into the car park, I can start to create a route with these tactile pieces. So I can just start to put them together, as I said, like a jigsaw, like so. So I want to get Cubo to move forward, then turn to the left and move forward, and then one more turn forward to reach the car park. Okay, so that is my routes I want to get Cubo to follow. And Cubo's basically got a radio frequency reader inside, radio frequency chips in each of the tactiles, so he can read exactly what we want them to do. So to get him to follow this route, now I simply need to put Cubo on top of the tactiles, and he's going to start following these exactly as I'm asking him to do, step by step, until they reach the car park nice and safely like that. So that's what you're usually working with and how the physical resource works. But of course, we're going to focus this on the virtual tool, because at the moment, of course, it's a little bit more difficult for us to get our hands on physical tools like this and use these in the classroom. So Cubo have been brilliant in really quickly putting together this this virtual tool for schools to use. So I'm just going to bring back my view and switch back to my screen. Just going to check that is come up. There we go. So it is called Cubo Play, and completely free to charge at the moment. What I've got on the screen here is the link to where you can access this. Now, I'm going to say for all of you online at the moment, you could, if you want, try and access this link and have a go for yourselves as I'm working through it and demonstrating. I appreciate that might be a little bit difficult for some of you if you're trying to watch what I'm doing, a list of what I'm doing, and switching between pages on the browser. So if you want to just sit back and take in all the information and see what I'm doing and what I've got to tell you, that's absolutely fine as well. It's really easy to use. You can take in all the information and start to use it for yourselves with the pupils after the call. But if anyone does want to try and load this up and play along as we go in, please feel free to do so. You just need to go to this link on the screen here. I just realized that that is in the way, so I'm just click that off. Okay. Or for those of you that want to do it later, maybe take a screenshot or a picture or take a note of that link. Now you can also, of course, just search Cubo Play, and it will be fairly easy to find as well. Okay, so hopefully everyone's made a note of that link though. And I'm going to switch now to the actual tool itself. I'm just going to go back a step to show you where you would start from. So when you go to that link, you'll be presented with this. You can see straight away you've got two different options to either go to the children and parents or teachers and educators. To be honest, they are really similar. There's a bit of some of the languages maybe been changed for parents using it with the children, but of course we want to go to the teachers and educators section here. So you can click onto that and it will take you through to the actual tool itself. So while that is loading up, so I just wanted to stress as well, to use this, it does have to be on a laptop or desktop. Unfortunately, it's not compatible with a tablet, either Android or iPad. So you do need to be using it in a browser. You're basically streaming it live in a browser on a laptop or desktop. You can see straight away now this is loaded up. We've basically got that virtual version of what I was just demonstrating physically with Cubo. And to support you, so I just zoomed on the wrong thing here. You can go to the full screen view of this. And once this loads up, you basically as well got everything that you need to help you deliver this with the kids in the classroom built into this tool within the software itself. So I'll come back to all the ins and outs of what you've got to work with on the top of the screen in a moment. So I want to quickly first of all demonstrate exactly how it works, how you start to put things together. And you can see hopefully straight away that we've now got the virtual representations of those tag tiles that I was talking about to help you create the codes at the bottom of the virtual desk that we're working on here as well. And you can see straight away we've got those 3 directional tag tiles which is demonstrating, but a lot more. So I'm going to be introducing you to and demonstrating how you use all of these in a moment. And of course, we've got Kubo, the robot himself here. So I can just click on the robot as well to drag them around to different places on the activity mat itself. And again, we're working with this school playground themed activity mat for this. I can twist Kubo around depending on where I need him to be facing at the start of the action he's going to carry out, just by using these directional arrows, nice and easy. And then I can be dragging in the tag tiles. Oh, I've just gone to the slightly wrong view. Let me just turn that around, sorry. Good thing to be aware, actually, you've always got the option to reset the camera on the bottom at the top of the screen here, if you ever do need to reset it like so. So I can just start to drag in these tag tiles onto the screen, wherever I want to put them on the mat. And again, you've got these directional arrows to twist them to where you need them to be. So I might just start to quickly build up a route. Again, I want Kubo to follow like so. This is just a quick demonstration. We're not getting Kubo to go anywhere in particular at the moment. And again, so if I want Kubo to start here, I can make sure I twist them around to be facing the right way, and then drag Kubo on top of that first tag tile. Let me just put that one more forwards, and there we go. Going to follow that straight away, nice and easy like that. Okay, so hopefully you can see straight away how you actually start to work with it. Of course, what we've got built into this is actual guides and activities or challenges that the kids can carry out. So at the top of the screen, you can see, first of all, you've got these two options, tutorials and tasks. So the tasks, first of all, are split into 4 different themes, and these are 4 different types of coding. And again, I'll be showing you these in action in a moment. And then for each of these different themes, you've got 4 separate tasks which you can carry out with the pupils. But of course, outside of these, once you've got a feel for what it's all about, you understand the kind of challenges you're getting the kids to work out, you can create your own activities or get the children to set their own challenges themselves as well. And on top of that, you've got all sorts of different help for yourself in this in terms of example solutions. So for all the challenges, if you're needing a bit of guidance on what an example solution that they might need to come up with would be, you've got that to work with in the software as well. And you've got notes for yourself as well. So it might just give you certain things to think about, or questions you might ask the kids, or different ways you can take the activities as well. So there's a lot of support built into it, part of the activities. And not just that, if I go back a step, you've also got this tutorial section here, which are brilliant short videos. So they're based on the physical resource, but absolutely suitable for the virtual version as well. And they are just quick video clips that last anything between 1 minute and 2 minutes, which again just demonstrates how you would carry out the main different types of programming, and how they work to help you and the people again understand what they're all about and how you can use them to control Kubo to do what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the tasks. Oh, sorry, I should mention as well, on the top of the screen, you've got the ability to mute Kubo if you ever want to, because you'll notice he beeps and makes noises as he's going around, which can be useful for just making sure Kubo is doing what you want to do. But if you ever want to mute that, you can. If you ever want to just completely clear out the tag tiles that you've been dragging into the activity mat, you can just use the trash can icon here. And if you ever, because you can zoom in and out on the view of Kubo on the mat, if you ever want to just reset the camera view to the default, you just press that reset camera function in the top right hand corner of the screen. It might be hidden by some of the webinar controls, but in the top right hand corner, you've got the button to reset the camera itself as well. Okay, so going back to our tasks, I'm just going to click that off for now. So the first basic task is again based around just creating routes, exactly like I demonstrated with the physical route. This is the most basic level of coding, and just getting the pupils used to how they use the tag tiles and understanding how they can create a basic route or basic sequence of code for Kubo to follow and act out. And it's usually based around getting them to go from point A to point B. So with this first task, you can hopefully see straight away that their challenge is that Kubo wants to go from the football to the park. Can you write or create a route using the tag tiles to help Cubo to do that. So that's our first task within this. So for those of you that have been able to get onto that link and want to try and do this for yourself, please feel free to do so. But I'm just going to demonstrate this myself as well. So for those of you that are watching, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm doing. I'm just going to reset my tag tiles. So it's creating, pressing that delete. And actually, I think my controls are in the way, so we're going to just move this a second. Bear with me, sorry. And there we go. I might not actually. I think because I'm presenting, it's not going to let me edit them. So the other way to, rather than pressing this, you can also just drag the tag tiles down to the bottom, and they will just disappear when you put them back onto where they started from. Let's try that again. It seems to want to at the moment. There we go. Okay. And now I can start from scratch. So we want to go from the football to the park here. So again, I'm just going to use those basic route tag tiles, starting off on the football itself. Now I want to get Cubo to turn to the right and move forward. So just to clarify again, with this type of tag tile, when it's turning, he will always turn and then move forwards. Next, I want them to turn to the left and move forwards towards the park. And now, of course, we're going to need another couple of green tag tiles to get them towards the park. And to get Cubo to at the out, again, I'm just picking Cubo up. They're already facing away, so I don't need to turn the right way, sorry, I don't need to turn him. Pop Cubo on top of that first tag tile, and they're going to map that out. Sorry, act that out exactly as I asked them to do. So they successfully get from the football to the park like so. Okay, so you can hopefully, I'm sure that is really self-explanatory. As I say, one of the most basic levels of coding. So I'm not going to go too much into detail on the further tasks on this into the demonstrating them. I'm sure you can imagine how you would keep on building this up and use those. But just a couple of examples, you can see that you've got further tasks where we started to go more complex routes where they're going to have to use more tag tiles. This time it might be from the school, sorry, the bus stop to the school itself. Task 3 actually goes a slightly different way, and rather than them mapping out, it actually gets them to look at a route and decide, right, where do they think Cubo is going to end up, and they can use the map coordinates on the actual activity map itself to say, right, we think they're going to end up at D6. Okay, so it's making sure they understand what's happening to the routes that way as well. And then I mentioned that there's lots of cross-curricular opportunities for storytelling and maths and things like that. So as an example of that, task 4, it's encouraging them to actually write a story about Cubo's journey. So it's not all just about the coding. We can encourage the kids to actually to communicate. So that could be just speaking or writing down a story on what Cubo is doing, where they're going to. You can actually see as well, if I go back to task 1, it even suggests that within the teacher, sorry, not task 1, it is task 2, getting them to think about their own local community and say, is this sort of thing in place within your school, your community? How does it differ? So there are always opportunities to bring in different skills on top of computing as part of all these activities. So again, hopefully that makes sense. You can see again all the support that you've got to work with. But at this point, I'm going to move on to a slightly more complex task. So that is routes. And again, I think that is definitely achievable at early years level of learning. There's no reason that they can't be getting involved in that type of activity, but it's definitely also useful into key stage 1 as well. But we're now going to go on to the next level of programming, and this is going to be in this functions section here. So functions is all about getting Cubo to memorize the code. So rather than always laying out the route exactly as we want them to follow it, we can actually now move into creating proper lineal sequences of codes which Cubo can memorize and then play. So that's what we're going to be looking at next. Again, you can see you've got lots of different tasks within each of this, and I'm going to focus on task number 2. So it's asking us to create a function that will take Cubo from the bus stop to the school. Okay, so I need to get Cubo from the bus stop to the school here. And I'll explain how you do this by going back to the game. So to get Cubo to memorize and then act out the code, what we're now using are these tiles here. So these ones with the 2 circles on, and you can imagine these as start recording and stop recording. So we can now use these to lay out a sequence of codes that we want Cubo to memorize. Let's see if it's going to let me. Okay, so yeah, now so I'm able to click on the trash can icon at the top here to start with a blank canvas. So I've got a nice blank canvas to begin with. To work with even. So my first thing I want to do is bring in a start recording function. You can see this time I'm not going to work on the actual mat. I want to create the code away from the mat because I then want Cubo to come back onto the mat and act it out. So if I'm going from the bus stop here, the first thing I need to do is think about what route I need Cubo to take. But rather than mapping it out, I need to put it into a linear sequence. You can start this with it might be that you could allow them to map it out as a route first of all, and then put it into a linear sequence. That could be the first step in this, but for the purpose of this demonstration, I want to go straight to showing you how you create these functions. So the first thing I want to do is bring in a move forward. Then I'm going to move forward again. And then once it's gone forward, it'll be so 1, 2 forward. At this point, I want it to turn to the right and move forward. So I'm going to bring in my blue one here. So then I think Cubo should be about here. So I want to move forward one more time and then turn to the left and move forwards. And then I'm going to give them one more forward control. And they should be starting to get towards the school, but I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. And then, of course, I need to get Cubo to stop recording. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I'm creating a sequence, a linear sequence. I'm going to get Cubo to memorize this to then act out. So first of all, to get Cubo to memorize, I now need to drag Cubo onto the first start recording tag tile. And they're going to run over these one by one. So you might be able to hear those beeps to indicate that they are recording each step one after the other, like so, till they get to the end, and now they stop recording. Okay, so they have stopped recording that sequence, and I'm just going to bring Cubo back in. So now to get Cubo to act this out, I of course want to play that code. So I'm going to use this play tag tile, and I'm going to be starting here at the bus stop. And to get Cubo to now play this, again, I just need to make sure they're facing the right way. So I need to get him to turn. You can see I've got my eyes here. So that is the front of Cubo. So I'm going to be wanting to start going forwards that way from the play icon. So I need to turn them to make sure they're facing the right way. Pop them onto that play icon, and they're going to start acting that sequence out. So let's see if I've got that correct. Forwards, turn to the right. Yeah, brilliant. Forwards. Forward, turn to the left, forward, forward one more time, and we are at the school. Okay, so that's how we use that. And what this is great for is also they've got to think about that linear sequence that they've got to create. But you find at this point, because they're having to think about the correct sequence they've got to create, they're not always going to get this right first time. So when they actually play Cubo and they think, oh no, they've gone the wrong way there, and they're not quite doing what we want them to do, we can then look back at the sequence that we've created here and think about what we need to change or debug to make it correct. So we can go back and edit this and take away tag tiles or put different ones in to get our sequence correct. Okay, hopefully that is making sense again as well. I always want to keep on stressing to help you use this for yourselves. You've always again got the tutorials to refer back to help you do that. So I know some of you might be trying that for yourselves at the moment. So if you have having a go at that, hopefully that's working for you and you understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to break for some questions in a second just to check if anyone's not clear anything and they want any further help. I think we're okay at the moment. Are we okay, Sarah?
Yeah, there's just one question. Do we know if the online version will be available after COVID-19?
So this is a good question. We haven't had full instruction yet. It's definitely free of charge now. The way they communicated was it's free of charge while schools are closed. So that's definitely going to be available till the end of this school year over the summer. When it comes to September, because I think there's still absolute clarity on exactly how open schools are going to be. So they're not going to make it chargeable straight away at that point. We're expecting them to make it free of charge still for a certain duration within September. But honest answer is we don't know exactly when it's going to be available free of charge until yet. But we'll we can keep anyone in the loop with that.
And
Is there
can
any
I
other
ask
questions?
Oh, I'm just going to ask
Yeah.
my own question. So if a school bought the Cubo robot, do they get the online version free? Is that how it works?
At the moment, no. I mean, at the moment, you get the Cube. This one I'm demonstrating now. You get this free of charge anyway. Anyone can access this completely free of charge now. In the future, it might work like that. That's a good question. If they in the future, if a school bought the physical one, they might also have access to the virtual one. That might be a way they works it. But again, yeah, honestly, I don't know. I've not heard any definite communication from them on that. I'd expect it still to be free of charge, to be honest, until the end of this year at least. That would be my expectation, but we'll have to wait and see.
All right, one last question. How much are the Cubo physical robots to buy approximately? I know obviously can look elsewhere.
Yeah. So the Cubo physical robot is £170 excluding VAT. So that's the Cubo robot I was demonstrating before, together with the tactile box, which contains all these tactiles which we're demonstrating now, and the activity mat itself. You can actually expand on it to get even more tactiles to take the complexity of coding to even more high levels, all the way through to upper key stage 2. Those tactile boxes are £50 each, excluding VAT. But everything that the main sets you've seen on the screen at the moment, that's £170.
Thank you. I'm going to disappear now.
No problem. Okay, so perfect. So I'll go on to the next levels of coding next as well. We'll come back to see if anyone's got more questions after this. So that's functions. What we can move on to next is loops. So we can of course bring some repetition into our coding. So again, you've got the activity tasks within this section as well. Asking them to see, right, can they see patterns or things that repeat within codes like this? What could we do to streamline that? How can we actually create it use it within a function and get it to repeat certain actions rather than having to lay out the individual tactiles all the time if it is repeating certain actions? So I'm going to go back to the game just to demonstrate this within the actual interface. So I'm just going to clear this out again. And we always have to use the repetition again within a function. So we always need to get a Cubo to record this. But the loops are these ones here. And what you always need to do, first of all, is start a loop. To start a loop, you use this one. And then, oh, sorry, I just clicked on the wrong part. Let's drag that back a little bit further. There we go. So I need to click onto this tactile and bring it into my function. And you can see you've got this hole here into which we can place different numbers to represent how many times we want it to repeat. So it might be I want it to repeat something twice. So I can bring that into the hole here. And now I need to tell it what I want it to repeat. So it might be that I want it to go forwards and then turn to the right and move forwards, and that's it. And then to close that loop, I need to bring in this icon here to close the loop, and it's simple as that. Now I could at this point as well, after it's repeated that, I could then tell it to do something else, maybe like turn to the left to move forward. So it's not that you're just working with a loop. You can put this loop in the middle of whatever else you want to do it within your sequence, and you can put other tactiles before the loop as well. But now again, to close the full function, I need to ask it to stop recording and get Cubo to memorize this. So let's drag them over to my start recording and get them to run over this like so. So they're running over the loop, and they will now stop recording. And of course, again, to get them to play this, I simply need to put my play icon down. I'm actually going to put it here, see if I can start to get them to go round the campfire. So I'm going to plot Cubo on top. So let's look if it does that. So it should go forwards, turn to the right and move forwards, and do that again. So yeah, forward, turn to the right and move forward, and now it should turn to the left and move forward towards us like so. Okay, so that's how we use loops. That's just a quick demonstration, but again, you've got all the tasks for different challenges around using loops within the actual guides themselves as well. Okay. And then last but not least, we've also got subroutines. So I was going to quickly demonstrate this. And what this means is, you might have noticed on the screen, we'll go back to it in a second as well, that we've actually got different color record and play tiles. So you can actually get Cubo to memorize lots of different sequences. Within the standards format like this, you can get them to memorize 2, but with the actual physical tag tiles, it can be up to 6 different things it can memorize. But the reason this is useful is that rather than having to create really long sequences of code, say we wanted them to do this, but then do something else on top of it, we can condense this down into just one icon and then build on it on what we want it to do. So again, there's challenges and the tutorials to build up to this, but to quickly demonstrate, if I now want to create a new code using my red tag tiles, but what I want to do is get Cubo to do something after they've acted this out, I can still include this by using my blue tag tiles. So that full line of code here is represented by this blue play tag tile here. So they're going to record that to begin with, and now I can say do something else after this. So let's just do some really simple, like, right, go forward once, forward twice after it, and then stop recording, as simple as that. So hope that makes sense. I'm getting Cubo to record this, which is represented by the blue play, and then move forward, and stop. Okay, so I'm going to get Cubo to memorize this sequence next. So I just need to, I've got the wrong way, to go this way to start recording it, put them on top to memorize all of that. So now I'm memorizing that full blue sequence and then adding these 2 on. And now I can act this out. So this acting as a subroutine within this new code. So I now want to bring in my red play tile. So I'm going to bring this one away and bring in my red play. Oh, sorry, need to click on that properly. There we go. And put that on my campfire here. Now bring Cubo onto that one like so. Hopefully we should see the change. So it now should start to go round the campfire. So it's acting out this sequence here to begin with. Heading towards my bush like it did last time. And now it should go forward. I know I'm going through the wall at the moment, which is what we're usually getting Cubo to do. But yeah, you can see it went forward twice exactly I've asked it to do within the sequences. Again, obviously within the challenge to be carrying out, if they don't get it right this time, which is what's going to happen, they've again still got all of their sequences at the side on the desk here to look back at and think, right, what do we need to debug to change to get it right? And I keep on stressing, well, I've kind of quickly demonstrated all the main levels of coding. You've always got these tasks to help you within this, and those really helpful video tutorials which demonstrate everything that I've gone through within that as well. So hopefully, again, that's all making sense. What you've got to work with, all the support you've got to help you in the classroom, and how you can start to use it with the kids. So it's a really great a virtual tool, which is hopefully still going to be free to use for the foreseeable future until the end of the year. And again, for anyone that does start to use this, I'm sure Cubo will keep us updated with how long it's going to be available for to use in the classroom. So after this, there is another couple of things I just want to quickly introduce you that you've got to use on top of even this. I was going to pause again to see if we've got any questions. Is there any more questions coming up at the moment, Sarah?
Yeah, there is. Carol's asked, she said, where can you get it for 170 as the prices she's seen are over 200?
Okay, is that excluded VAT or including VAT?
She doesn't say.
Okay, so unless I made a mistake from my memory on our website, apologies, but it is on our website. I'm just going to double check. I might have made a mistake on that, which would be very bad. Let me just check myself. Bear with me 2 seconds, sorry. And I will let you know for sure. Because I think over 200, it should be the including VAT price. And of course, with the school price, we always talk excluding VAT, but I'm just going to double check. We'll have it in just a moment. Yeah, so I've got on our website, on the CreativeHUT website, Cubo coding single set, £170 ex VAT. So Carol might be looking on a different website to me. I can see below that it does say £204 including VAT. But for the ex VAT it's £170. Actually, I could, if you want, just show you this live. Actually, bear with me.
Brilliant.
2 seconds, sorry, it should come up in seconds. There we go. See that Cubo single set there? That's the main one I'm talking. Sorry, there we go. On the right hand side here. Sorry, Cubo coding single set, £170 ex VAT.
Yeah, I think it's probably the VAT thing, perhaps.
Yeah, no problem. And, sorry, so yeah, was there any other questions on top of that as well?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. So the other thing I want to make people aware of, of course, just want to look back at, so hopefully just through what I've been talking through there and demonstrating there, everyone can already see where this links to within the computing curriculum. That's definitely absolutely ideal for Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 in designing, writing and debugging programs. We're of course working with sequence and repetition, working with inputs and outputs, helping us to use logical reasoning to understand algorithms. Of course, is exactly what we're doing when we're creating the code with those tag tiles. You are using and working with algorithms to do that. Maybe the only one that we're not working with in this demonstration is selection, which is using obviously if then else statements. What I want to make aware of that I mentioned before with the physical resource, you can actually keep on adding to the complexity of this with additional tag tiles. So you can introduce all sorts of different things like degree turns. You can increase or decrease the speed of Cubo, and you can start to bring in if then else statements. But that's only with the physical resource. Unfortunately, they haven't got that on this virtual tool. And also, it was briefly alluded to the storytelling opportunities within this and the maths opportunities, which hopefully you can see from this the brief demonstration I've been doing. But all of that is mapped out in even more detail within the full lesson plan, which again you'll be able to see on the Cubo website. And then last but not least, another thing you can take advantage of with Cubo coding. So for those that are pupils that maybe don't have access to a laptop or desktop at the moment, you've also got these great Cubo coding unplugged activities. And what this means, again, is completely free of charge. I've got that link on the bottom of the screen if anyone wants to take a photo of this. We'll make a note of that link. And this is all based around still the similar process and the similar challenges and activities you carry out, but it involves the pupils actually becoming Cubo themselves. So the tag tiles that I've just been demonstrating physically and virtually, hopefully you can just see me on the screen as well. You can actually print these out. So within that Cubo coding unplugged activity guide, they've got all the A4 templates of the tag tiles you to work with. So you could print these out, or you could simply draw the tag tiles if you don't want to print them out. And then if you could imagine those activities I've been going, you can actually get the pupils to become Cubo themselves. And it might be that you set challenges where, again, they've got to get themselves from point A to point B in their home or in the classroom. And you can go to the point of laying those printed or drawn Cubo tag tiles on the floor. Or it might be that you've got people working in pairs where one is the programmer, one is the robot. And it might be that they have to hold up the instructions. You can imagine that the programmer is not allowed to speak to their fellow pupil who is the robot, and they've got to guide them through what to do by holding up the instructions and getting them to act that out. And the same with using those stop recording and, sorry, I'm holding that the wrong way, stop recording and start recording. If you imagine just laying those out as sequences on the floor for the person acting as Cubo to then act out and see what they might debug. So there's that great resource to make use of as well if you don't have access as easily to the to laptops and desktops to carry out those challenges as well. So yeah, Cubo have been absolutely brilliant in providing lots of resources to use in different ways. And I think that is everything that I wanted to talk through. So I will see if we've got any last questions, but after this, for anyone that does want to get in touch with us, find out more about the virtual tool, the physical resources, or ask any questions in general at all, you've got our website and main email address on the screen there. And we're always giving more information on tools that you've got at your disposal, events that we're carrying out. We do lots of online training as well, so keep an eye on our social media if you wanted to take a note of those as well. But I think that is everything now. So we've got any last questions at the moment, Sarah?
No, we haven't got any questions.
Perfect.
So,
okay.
So
Brilliant.
yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Neil, for presenting. Thanks everybody else for joining. I think my personal highlights there were, I love unplugged activities, to be fair, so that's a great resource. I'll put it in chat for everybody. Anything that you feel was useful, it would be great if you could share it on social media for everybody else. Our CAS website and also our CAS Facebook groups. We've got a primary group and a secondary group, so please join. At the end of this webinar, a short survey will appear on the screen, and if you've got a couple of minutes just to fill that in, that would be great. In about a week's time, you'll receive an email with a CPD certificate confirming your attendance at this session. A recording of this will be available on the CAS website in the near future, and we hope to see you at other sessions in the showcase over the next couple of weeks. Do continue to spread the word about the first ever CAS Virtual Showcase. Thanks, Neil, and thanks everybody else for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye now.